All right, class, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever it is you are watching this video. So here's the deal. First, I would like to congratulate you on making it through, in my personal opinion, the most monstrous unit we have in terms of difficulty and volume, Unit 2. We are now transitioning into Unit 3, which is called the corporate world. So Unit 1 was Introduction to Economics. Unit 2 was Supply and Demand, aka figuring out why stuff costs, what stuff costs. And Unit 3 is called the corporate world. In other words, we are going to find out how business organizations within diverse market structures, right there, two vocab terms. We're going to learn about the different business organizations. We are going to learn about the different market structures. And we are going to learn what they do to operate differently to remain successful in the marketplace. Alrighty, so our standard for the day is to compare the different forms of business organizations. There are about 5 different forms we are going to review in class, and in this particular video, we cover the first 2 of them. I think you guys will enjoy this unit. It's not as difficult as Unit 2 was because there is no graphing, there's less math involved, but there is quite a bit of vocabulary, so be sure to take thorough notes. Let's get into it. Alright. 3 LEQs. The first 2 business structures that we are covering are called sole proprietorships and partnerships, and we need to learn the advantages and disadvantages of them. So what is a sole proprietorship? Now you guys know me when we have these like fancy words. I really try to debunk the myth that economics vocabulary is difficult. Our vocabulary is actually very simple. We just have hard words to describe simple ideas. So just like diminishing marginal utility, we have sole proprietorship. So if you break this word down, here's what you can come up with. So we have sole. If you guys have been in school, I hope you know what sole means. It means single and or only one. Now, proprietor may be a word that you're unfamiliar with, and a proprietor is simply an owner of a business. So when you put the 2 words together, sole proprietorship, that is a business that is owned and operated by one person. Now, when I just read that definition, you guys may be thinking about entrepreneurship, and you are correct to do so. Now, I must be very clear here, okay? Technically, on a textbook level, a sole proprietor is different than an entrepreneur, all right? But in general, okay, most entrepreneurs do go on to be sole proprietors. That is, very rarely do entrepreneurs immediately open a corporation or do they open a partnership. In general, and again, guys, this is in general. Yes, there are exceptions to this rule. Most entrepreneurs do go on to be sole proprietors. That is, the entrepreneur took a financial risk to start his or her own business in search of profits as a sole proprietor, okay? Now, what I need you guys to know about sole proprietors tonight is simply this. They are by far, the most common type of business in the world. Now, a sole proprietorship is someone owned by one person. When we talk about sole proprietorships in class, what I want you guys to think about are these small local businesses. For example, Publix is not a sole proprietorship. Walmart, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Foot Locker, none of these are sole proprietorships. Sole proprietorships are these really small, not always small, sometimes they get very successful, but generally relatively small mom and pop stores. Think of restaurants, cafes, novel clothing wares, just random different stores. Those are sole proprietorships, and they are by far the most common. So to contrast with sole proprietorships, we have partnerships. Now, a partnership, you can think to yourself, that is 2 people. Now, in economics or the business world, partnerships are businesses that are owned by 2 or more people. So key phrase, 2 or more. Watson Clinic, which you guys know, has about 26 different partners. There are some very large medical practice industries out there that have like over 100 different partners. Now, in general, most partnerships are 2 or 3 people, but it is simply a business that is owned by 2 or more individuals. For the sake of simplicity in class, we will consider a partnership to be owned by simply 2 individuals. But I want you guys to know, and Watson Clinic is a great local example, you can have many different partnerships. Now, when it comes to examples of partnerships, here's what I'm looking for, the big 3, all right? Again, these are the general rule, and of course, there are always exceptions to the general rule. But in general, the 3 industries with the highest percentage of partnerships in them is the medical industry, the engineering industry, and law firms. I mean, you guys think about law firms. So we have what? Morgan and Morgan. For the people. That's two different guys. That's two brothers. That's Morgan and Morgan. Here locally, you have Culpepper and Kirkland. There are many different law firms that have 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 different lawyers come together, pool their resources to make a business. Okay. Now, we're about to get into the advantages and disadvantages of these different business structures. Before we do that, there's some key vocab I need you guys to know. Now, a very important word for the next 3 weeks in class, a very important word is this word liability. Liability means someone being held responsible. That is, if you walk into a store and due to their neglect, they left a lot of water on the floor from mopping and did not put up caution signs and you slip and fall, the store is held liable for negligence. All right? So liability is someone being held responsible for something that happened. If you were to come to my house and my dog bites you, I would be held liable for that particular instance. All right? Now, more specifically, a phrase I need you to know is this idea of unlimited liability. So here's the deal. This is most common in sole proprietorships. It is a requirement that an owner is personally and fully responsible for all losses and debts of a business. That is, if I take out a $100,000 loan and my business fails, the bank is not going to say, sorry, try better next time. They are going to sue me, take my house, take my truck, take everything I own until they recover their $100,000. And finally, we have assets. Assets are simply everything a business or households that have legal claim to. So for example, in our personal life, our assets are things of value that we own, like our vehicles and our homes, our most common assets. If I were to open up an organic juice bar, my assets would be my building, my capital, things of that nature. Most commonly, assets are capital and any buildings you own. All right. So once again, guys, we're moving through this fairly quickly. We are going to get a lot more practice in class, all right? Now here's what I have for you guys right here is a table that was way too big to put on any individual single slide. So here's what I recommend doing here. I'm going to scroll through this slowly, and I am not going to review it in this video. I could easily make this a 25-minute video if I wanted to cover all these individuals. I'm sure you guys don't want that. So I'm going to scroll through this very slowly. You can take a screenshot of it. You can copy it down. If it's difficult to see, I have also posted this file on the class Moodle website, so you can pull it up there in a standard size document and see as you need to. So right here, here's what I want to point out. These are the advantages and disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. On this column, we have advantages. This column, disadvantages. On the left are the different categories. So profits and losses. What are the advantages and disadvantages in terms of profit and losses for a sole proprietorship? What are the advantages and disadvantages in terms of liability for a sole proprietorship? So go ahead if you need to take a screenshot of this, copy it down, and I'm then going to scroll down for the last little bit. So we have personal satisfaction. So this is the last little bit of sole proprietorship. Take a screenshot, pause the video, copy it down, check the website. And here is partnership. So again, screenshot, copy it down, check the website, and I'm going to scroll down and get the rest of it. Okay, so once again, guys, I know this is a lot, but I need you to have it in your notes and have it done. Okay, so here's our LEQ in review. Number one, what are sole proprietorships and partnerships? A sole proprietorship is a business owned by one single person. It is the most common type of business structure that entrepreneurs do. So most people who want to take a financial risk in search of profits, aka entrepreneurs, start a sole proprietorship. For the purposes of this class, I want you to think about small, local, mom and pop businesses. A partnership is a business owned by 2 or more people. It is most common in the professional fields of medicine, law, and engineering. Now, I apologize for rushing through the advantage and disadvantage. Again, this video would be way too long if I went through them individually. We will be discussing them much more in class, but I need you guys to know those advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorships and partnerships. Thank you for watching this video. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you in class.